right, guys, I've got positive stuff for you. And I want to get into Jaylen Wright, who we drafted last year for 2 fourth-round picks. There was some debate whether he was worth those fourth-round picks and would he be commensurate with what we paid for him. And honestly, we saw not the production we'd hoped, maybe not the usage we'd hoped. But I'm going to do a little bit of a two-parter. I'm going to do the film tomorrow. Today, I want to break down why fans should be really genuinely excited for Wright this season. Of course, there's caveats, but I want to cover some stuff about Wright to show you, yes, you should be excited about Ollie Gordon. He does bring potential in certain areas of our game. But Jaylen Wright is a much more diverse, much more explosive back who can kind of do a lot more stuff. And I do think his potential is higher. But the problem is, and I'm going to get into it today, along with Hill basically pitching for Ramsay to be and what that means and how that's kind of playing out. But to Wright, the bad framework that we have, or any team, it puts a cloud of war, fog of war over players' performances. And sometimes it can enhance them and make them look better than what they should be. But more often than not, it makes them look worse than what they are. And I think that Jaylen Wright, if things go in a certain way, if some of the things he works on to improve, could be a very explosive piece. And for those fans who are hoping for a very good season, the return of Ramsay, but Jaylen Wright as well, could be a big piece of that puzzle. So that's going to be my deal for today. I'm going to do a little bit of film, go over Wright, and then talk about Hill. Now, I had a real nice brother contact me, and he asked me on his channel tonight. It's called Blender. You can see he put the thumb together here. Man, what a mugshot. I got to learn to take pictures. My wife is amazing at it. I'm not so hot. Anyway, come check me out tonight. We're going to be at 7 o'clock Eastern time. And support the guy because he's trying to do the right thing. He was kind enough to have me on, and I'm going to try to not muck it up and try to enhance what he's got. So check his channel out tonight. And guys, like, subscribe, comments, and views. There's just no way around it. It is the core of staying in business. If you're doing it as a business, if it's a fun thing, it don't matter. But I'm kind of in the middle ground of I love to do this thing. I love to do it my way, which is tell you the good and the bad, but it's also a business. It feeds my kids and family. So however you can help me out with that, that would be great. So I want to get into this little graphic that I got here. I put it out on my Twitter. Check me out, Curtis at FinsNews1 on Twitter. Twitter can be, X can be a cesspool, but there is a lot of value there if you can sift through the garbage. So I put stuff up there that's original. I don't really always cover it here. I'm trying to be better at it, so support me there. Anyway, I put this thing out today, and it's critical. It talks about the negative effect of our offensive line on Jaylen Wright. But if you parse through the numbers and you watch the film, you could see how explosive and powerful this guy is. And also, if you give him a little bit up front, especially for a guy like him, who's a big guy, who's a one-cut guy, what he can accomplish. So I'll break it down for you a little bit. You can see the direction DIR all the way to the left, and then you see attempts, and then yards. That's something you can break down and parse things out a little bit, and I'll do it a tiny bit. But the keys are YPA, yards per attempt, and YCO/A. And what YPA is, what was the total yards? And you look at his numbers, it was 3.7 yards, over 200 yards for the season, and it looks like garbage. But when you look at the yards after contact, and then you work it out to show the yards before contact, you'll see how hindered Jaylen Wright was and what he was able to do. I mean, that's why I always say running backs, the best way to judge them is what do they do when things aren't going right. You really get to see what they're about. The big plays, the explosive runs, they offer something, but not as much as some of this other stuff. So you can see yards per attempt, not really good. You got 2, left tackle 7.4, and RT, right tackle 7.3. But look at the yards before contact. Basically, on the majority of his runs, 3 directions, he got negative yards before contact. And a number that was put out that I spoke about last year, but Warren Sharp kind of made it popular now and really bolstered it in ways. Talked about how on short down runs, we were 44% stuffed. Eric Smith kind of said it was more in the 40% range. I've shown my chart that talked about overall on all runs, we had a 26 point something percent stuff rate, 5% more than the next worst team. And you have to understand, different running backs work in different environments differently. But negative 0.93 to the left end, 2.2 to left tackle, which is lower end, it's not high quality. 1.8 left guard, which is no bueno. 1.1 is less bueno. Negative 0.51 middle right. Guard, negative 2.3. That's insane. And then right tackle, 3.8, which is very good. But if you go to the attempts, you'll see it was only 4. And there was 1 run for 20 yards. So a lot of it came out on that. And then right end 1.21. This is not a framework for a running back, especially a big guy. So going back and looking, this is what it looks like when you don't have yards before contact. And you can see clearly, look at this. He's just getting banged by 95. But there's nothing you can do. It's not a matter of the running back working hard. There's Bills, he is the same thing. You see another one versus the Bills. This is what he saw the majority of his time running the football. So you have to understand, you've got, your, I guess you want to say Derrick Henry build. Guy's a one-cut guy, big guy, power guy, fast guy. And then on the other end, you have Barry Sanders, who's a scatter back. Not digging too much in the scatter back, but these big guys, they really don't have great change of direction. And if they do, it's usually not great, but if it's pretty good, it makes them very good. And I said beginning of last year, he was an A and B, mostly, sometimes C, that means around the tackle area, running back who can one cut. And when the play breaks down because the blocking's not there and he's got to make a bunch of cuts, it takes a little bit longer for a guy like that to get started and to stop and get started again, but also to evade the problems in front and to navigate his way through. These guys need to get over the line of scrimmage, build that head of steam, and at least have a one-way go where there's one option for the hole. 2, it makes even better. So he was given very, very little help. I don't want to get into why and all that stuff. I'll deal with a little bit more tomorrow in the film. But just imagine if you saw a positive yards before contact in the majority of these runs, especially in that A gap, and B gap, the middle left, the left guard, middle right, and right guard. This guy brings the wood. You'll see it in the film. He is explosive. I think his second and third gear. He doesn't have a great first gear and fourth gear, but he breaks tackles, he runs extremely hard, and he does have enough speed to get to the edge in our outside zone. But as you'll see tomorrow, he does lack that cutback to really bend it back hard in the cutback in the outside zone. This is why I think for him, the inside zone, getting movement on the interior with what he brings, this yards after contact is exceptional given how little he had to work with. And when I've talked about leverage, these defenses will bend. They will adjust if this guy can get his game on consistently. It's another thing. He's kind of like a back that needs many reps. You look at his Patriots game where he got loads of reps and he was starting to explode. Not a great run defense, but this guy, if you get this front right, will change the leverage. It will help the pass game. It will open up the edges. It will wear down defenses. He's the kind of guy that you're not going to want to tackle in the third and fourth quarter if you give him enough and you're successful enough. Same with Ollie Gordon. I think Ollie Gordon is bigger, more powerful. a lot more powerful, but more powerful, and he's a much better pass blocker. And when you look at Achane and you look at Wright and you look at Ollie Gordon, there's a nice compliment here. Really, not hopium. Now, I want to get into the film a little bit to talk about one of his weaknesses. We saw he wasn't graded well in his pass blocking. You've got to pass block well as a running back. It just opens a lot of things up. But we saw Willie Gay blew him up, and that wasn't a good thing, but we still got time to see how this kid develops. It's going to be a critical piece. You can see in this play against the Seahawks, he's coming up to fill, the linebacker's charging, and he gets in position, but dumping his head like that, having no bounce. He picks it up, he puts it in the quads, which is always, you want to get there because it stops the guy, and he made the block, but that's an easy way to get beat. Because when you dump your head like that, they'll see it in film and work around it. But then it will also can get you hurt. And just not good technique. And consistency is the key. There wasn't a lot of pass blocking involved. This was another one. I covered it last year. And you can see right here, he's got to take ownership of the numbers. And 56 is blitzing here. He doesn't seem to notice that. He's just trying to get into his route. The protection has to flow inside out. Jackson didn't do anything wrong. He had to pick that inside. But this outside linebacker, what you got to do at this stage is know that, and if you look at all his pass catches, he was never the first option. And so what you do is you want to match your inside shoulder to his outside shoulder. You clip him, you still get into your route, and then you spin him off balance. And at the very least, it will hold him up maybe a step and a half, as he has to unspin and get himself going. And this will buy time. And it could have helped with him being the dump off if the quarterback had time, but he didn't. And so it's little things like this. We saw Mostert that time, again, with Armstead, missed this block. It happens, but this is a big key to sticking with a team and being a primary guy, and it can really change the course of a game. You buzz that linebacker coming in, and the next time you might not have to go and chip him because he's thinking and he's slowing up his blitz. And when you get hit like that as a linebacker and you're not expecting it, it does shake you, and it does leave longer lasting effects, and it does help with the protection and hole as it goes on, just from the guessing standpoint. And so he had a small amount. Running backs usually have problems with pass protection. There's something he can grow, and you can see here. Now, go back, look at this play here, what this kid can do. Inside run, he's clogged, he breaks out, he pops it, and this is a brutal run, not the greatest blocking, but you could see how he bounces off contact, and he can pop it, not for the long haul, not for the big run, but he can sting you. And that will change the defensive coordinators through the course of the game, will change the way the linebackers think. And then in the following week, the DCs and the players will kind of take that accordingly, and they might start reacting to that and acting towards that, unlike we didn't see last year. So it's very critical that we get this kid the ball. The last year is last year. This year is this year. You've got Paul, who can move guys. Hopefully Savaianaya can move guys at left guard. Farrow flanking them, things I've talked about. And this can open up holes for this kid to do real damage. Brewer, he can kind of hang in there. Daniels, you got to see how healthy he is. Jackson is the only one that I'm really concerned with. But we got to see how it plays out. But you might have that strong side where you can slam these guys like Gordon in. You can slam these guys in Wright in. And it will have effect. And you don't need to be the 90s Cowboys to change the way this look is. Because I've never seen defenses play a team like they played us, especially last year. And little bit of shift can change a play or two and get those quick points and then put them on their heels. So that's the good news with that. Now, getting to Tyreek. Tyreek has did a whole pitch to bring Ramsay back. What does it mean? He knows Ramsay. They're long-tooth vets. Bringing Ramsey back will help Hill's cause. This defense, if it can slow teams down, get some turnovers, and Ramsey can help with that, that means more opportunities for Hill to do his thing, this offense to do their thing, and they're not going to be chasing. A big problem I have or concern is if this secondary can't handle up, we're going to be in chase games, and that's not where you want to be. Even if this offensive line gets better, you don't want to put it in negative, harder conditions than it needs to be. And you never really want to chase. So if Hill has Ramsey, they're working together, this defense might be enough to get this offense to a point where Hill can get his touches and get his accolades to set himself up for next season, but also put this team in position. But how much of it is going to change Ramsey's mindset? Maybe Greer trying to get rid of Ramsey, it's kind of hit a blockade where teams are not willing to expend what they want. And maybe with Ramsey and his agent, they're saying, hey, put it out that maybe you want to come back, to kind of pull that possibility off the table, to get some of these teams to be a little bit more aggressive or desperate to get Ramsey. We don't know. It's certain, without a doubt, if you've got Ramsey in this secondary, a lot of problems get alleviated, and this team will be clearly better for this season. But what's the long term? And then you have to worry about this chemistry that we're supposedly building. If we come out hot and we're doing well, it's going to be good. It's always good when you're winning, just about. But if he stays and this team starts struggling, is he going to be the fly in the ointment to help this thing sink quicker? And so there's clearly benefits to him staying, clearly benefits to him going. We don't know the real reason why Hill is saying this. We don't know if this is really going to change his mind. But we do know that there's a lot of work with him trying to get Ramsey to stay. So Ramsey's the guy that's been pushing this. He wants to go. But with all the money attached to him, just because he wants it doesn't mean he's going to get it. So this is going to be very, very interesting how it plays out. It's going to shift the momentum towards this season if he stays, but it's going to pull some of the momentum off for us in the future. I think a pick, getting off that money, paying for early is going to help us long term. But for this season, it could play out big. But we don't know if this is going to go that direction. We don't know the whys. But clearly, I think we can be certain him staying is a big boost for us this season and sort of a hit long term. What does it really amount to? Will some of these teams, the Chargers and the Rams and maybe the Steelers, be a little more interested to give Greer a little bit more? We'll see. Anyway, guys, come check me out tonight on Blender, 7 o'clock. I'm going to get the film out to dial in more about Wright working with this front and how the defenses played us to show you that this kid really can play. He really is a good back. It was a good move. It just wasn't a good move considering what we had and how we used them. But we invested in the trenches, and Ollie Gordon, Wright, and Achane could be serious go-juice if we get this blocking right. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Curtis saying, be well. Go Fins, Curtis out. Start building your own online sportsbook today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.